I used to have this mid 2014 MacBook Pro, which had 3 USB-A ports, 2 Thunderbolt 2 ports, a headphone jack, and an SD card reader, and it was fantastic. But Apple lately has been making some questionable decisions in removing a lot of their extra ports. I mean, but this has been happening for a while now, so not really a big surprise there. But with the removal of these ports off their laptops, that means you're gonna need a lot of dongles to get the same functionality that you would have on an older MacBook. USB 3.0, lightning bolt, and an SD card reader, and whatever other ports there are. And you'll be left with a lot of extra dongles just lying around. That's why when I searched up MacBook USB-C hubs, I found Satechi's multi-port USB-C Hub V2. Yeah, I know that name is a mouthful, but if you don't want to search it up by name, you can just go to the description and click the link in there and you'll have a direct link to the product. Being a fan of Satechi's previous products, I figured, why not pick this up? I previously bought one of their headphone stands with 3 USB 3.0 ports and a headphone jack, and I've been using it for the past 3 years or so. It's a fantastic device that I always plug in all of my drives into. I've been happy with the quality of their product so far. So now for $79.99, is this USB-C hub worth the price? Yeah, I think it is. The build is an aluminum body with 2 plastic faces here, a thick rubber cable, and the USB-C port over here is also encased in aluminum. You can choose either rose gold or silver, or in this particular case, space gray to match your MacBook. It feels solid and well constructed, a perfect fit for your MacBook. But of course, function is more important than form. Why get this over other products? Why should you buy this instead of official first-party Apple dongles? Well, first off, the number of additional ports you get for the price is way better than Apple's. An HDMI dongle from Apple has an HDMI out, USB 3.0, and a Thunderbolt 3 port. All those 3 things for $69. Nice. Whereas for this hub, for $79, you get 3 USB 3.0 ports, an HDMI out, gigabit Ethernet, USB-C or Thunderbolt 3 charging, micro SD card reader, and a regular SD card reader. Everything works just as you'd expect. HDMI outputs to 4K 30, but I only have a 1080 TV, so I can't really test the 4K 30, but it still just works. The Ethernet port delivers basically the same speeds as the Ethernet port going into my PC here. As for the read-write speeds, my Samsung T5 SSD plugged into this hub reads and writes at 296 megabytes per second. But when plugged directly into the Thunderbolt 3 port, it's 378 megabytes per second. So the speed is about 80 megabytes per second slower through the hub than through directly plugging it in. But that doesn't mean it's sluggish by any means. Of course, there's the SD card reader as well, which reads and writes at 86.3 megabytes per second on my Lexar SD card. As for the micro SD card, under a 1 gigabyte stress, it read and wrote at 20 megabytes per second. Granted, I used an old micro SD card since I don't really use micro SD cards that often. That's why it gave 20 megabytes per second, but I'm sure if you used a newer, faster micro SD card, then it would read at a higher rate. The only issue that I've had with this hub is I wish that the SD card reader went just a little bit deeper. The way the SD card currently sits in the SD card reader just doesn't really feel secure. I know that it still works, it just feels so shallow compared to every other card reader that I've used. But I know that in order to read it, all it needs to do is make contact with the contacts, and that's exactly what it's doing. It probably has something to do with the SD card size, the USB hub size, and the internal components, because the micro SD card fits in the slot almost flush, whereas this one, significantly larger, just doesn't fit. There's also a very small, minor issue that I figured I'd bring up, which is that when in use, the hub gets warm. Not hot to the touch, but it gets, just warm, like you can feel it if you put your hand on it. I don't know, it's not a major issue, but it's just something to be aware of. After using this a few times, I'm honestly really happy with the $79.99 purchase. It might seem a little expensive at basically $80, but to get the same amount of functionality through Apple's products, that's gonna cost you over $100. So I'd rather choose this third-party product over that any day. Anyway, what do you think of Satechi's multi-port USB-C hub? Do you think it's great for the price, or are you hardcore first-party Apple-only dongles? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.